Welcome everybody, my name is Michael or Kubera, and today we are discussing DeFi interest. So, without further ado, let's roll the intro. Stay fastened to your seatbelts. That sounded terrible, but let's go with it anyways. So in order to get into this, we need to fully understand where the interest for DeFi is coming from. It's not coming from beginner investors who just found out about cryptocurrency this year, because the beginner's process doesn't go like, hey, I heard about Bitcoin. I have no idea how Bitcoin really works, but let's just dive straight into DeFi because I see a lot of videos. I type in crypto and a lot of videos are like, woo, DeFi's popping all over the place, 20,000 gains. So no, the newbie process goes more like this. They discover Bitcoin, probably from a friend, family, news sections. Their favorite YouTuber discusses about it. They see it on a Twitch stream, whatever. They find out about it. Probably are going to start learning about Coinbase. How do you buy Bitcoin? What is Bitcoin? What do you do with Bitcoin? What can you buy with Bitcoin? And ultimately, should I invest in Bitcoin? If I do invest in Bitcoin, how do I sell Bitcoin? And they're going to start learning all about Bitcoin. They might stay there. They might become Bitcoin maximalists. But in order to become a true Bitcoin maximalist, you need to understand the other side. Because if you don't, well, you're just being ignorant. So by the time you get to selling Bitcoins, or to the idea of potentially selling if you already invested in Bitcoin, you get to this point where it's like, I don't know about selling my Bitcoin. What if I just traded my Bitcoin for an alternative coin, an altcoin? And then the largest altcoin is Ethereum, right underneath Bitcoin. And you realize, well, let's check out what Ethereum is. And then you realize, hey, leading up to 2017, this Ethereum, it's a very interesting coin. It runs on Solidity, but it was programmed with 6 different languages. It's leading to the creation of ERC20 tokens. What's that? You start discovering what ERC20 tokens are. Then you realize, hey, anybody can make an ERC20 token. You make a cryptocurrency project already using something that exists instead of having to create your own language, having to create your own project, your own code, your own cryptography, everything. It is not an easy process, and very few people in the world actually know how to do this. So that's what led to this giant rise of 2017, both in Bitcoin price, but also to ICOs. ICOs aren't popular now anymore. A lot of them turned out to be scams or just bankrupted projects. But a lot of them, the most of them, were based on ERC20. So you learn about Bitcoin, you learn about Ethereum and ERC20 tokens and how there's thousands of projects and all of these ICOs. Some of these ICOs actually still exist to this day. They collected hundreds of millions of dollars, certain projects, and some of these projects are worth over $1 billion, or at least were worth $1 billion, some of them. So then logically, the next step is DeFi, because it resembles ICOs, but ICOs are kind of dead now. And then you see DeFi is all over the place, but it's a little bit more complex. The basic gist of it's the premise, decentralized finance. All right, you get it. There's centralized finance, there's banks, and then there's decentralized finance. You realize that Bitcoin and Ethereum and most of these cryptocurrencies of 2017 were very, very restricted by regulations. So you start hating the government, you start hating these regulations and restrictions, and that's where we are today. You have a profound interest in DeFi, but you still don't know what DeFi is. So the newbies finally start learning about it. And that's why if you go to the Google search terms, if you look at their past history for interest of each terms, you see that Bitcoin had a big rise in 2017 onto 2018. Same with cryptocurrency. And there was a revival of that in 2019 and also this year, but it's nowhere near the same levels as 2017. We've kind of been chilling this year, and I think that's a good thing. A lot of people are super upset because they want Bitcoin to hit 20,000. If you look at the Bitcoin greed factor index, last month was very greedy. Now there's a lot of fear. People don't really know what's going to happen with Bitcoin. It's below $11,000. I'm not panicking about this. It is not a giant crash from 11,500 to 7,000 suddenly. We've been stable for a very long time this year, especially during a period of huge instability. And now with the revival of the whole pandemic in certain countries, and again, certain countries are shutting down and economies are shutting down, you start to realize that, hey, Bitcoin's in a pretty good place, but DeFi is where it's at if you're looking for these insane gains. However, in order to fully capitulate on these gains, you need to be an expert on DeFi. Now, there's no so-called experts yet. unless you're Vitalik Buterin or one of the early founders or investors in Bitcoin. But over time, people will understand what's going on fully more and more. The problem with DeFi is that there's more scams than in ICOs, and due to that, people should be afraid of investing, but they're not, because they see these larger gains than you would get in ICOs. There's also the risk of completely losing your money, because decentralized finance at the end of the day is decentralized, so it depends on how decentralized that project is. But over time, I do believe that it is still a very small animal, and it can be organized into something absolutely amazing, or it can be turned into a crazy monster. There is one thing that's known for certain, and that is as soon as Bitcoin, the interest in Bitcoin starts rising again, and the interest in altcoins and the interest in cryptocurrency by everyone, by the experts and by the newbies, because sure, you have a lot of experts, but some of them are going to get undoubtedly burned out. What happens if they lose on a DeFi project? What happens if they lose on whatever investment they have? They might take a break from crypto. So you always need an influx of new investors, but if people aren't interested, you're going to kind of be stable, or things might go down for a little bit. But as soon as this interest starts rising in the main players where Bitcoin really does control a lot of the market dominance, I mean, hey, if Bitcoin's going up, probably everything else will go up. If Bitcoin's going down, everything else will start to go down. It's just a simple law of attraction. These cycles are getting longer. So it's not just like bear market, bullish, bear, bam, bam. You have these prolonged periods of stability, and then you have some craziness here and there, and then again, stability and crazy here. Smart contracts are being polished. Newbies are going to learn more and more about DeFi. Once the interest starts to go up in Bitcoin and Ethereum, then undoubtedly the interest in DeFi will also start to give in. And with just 42 projects on DeFi Pulse, those 42 combined have more than $10 billion locked into them. If Bitcoin starts to go up, you might see that $10 billion suddenly go into 100+ billion locked up. And over time, as everything starts to improve, these scams are going to fall away from the interest of most investors. Always be wary of scams. Quick interruption. If you're an advertiser, I have my email in the description below. Let's chat. So lastly, there's an elephant in the room. In 2017, Bitcoin started rising. At the very end of January in 2018, Bitcoin started to fall. And by February and March, we realized, hey, this is approaching a bear market. And by March, April, we were kind of in a bear market already. Or the smart ones probably realized a lot earlier that, hey, everything's falling, but then there was the dumb ones, I included, who thought, oh, it's just going to recover, everything's going to be fine. But anyways, let's not look back at that. Let's learn from that, because Ethereum transaction fees weren't that high. They went up a little bit, but Bitcoin fees went up all the way. The more people using it, the higher the transaction fees will go unless there's an update. Well, now the Bitcoin transaction fees are okay, everything's fine, but Ethereum has hit all-time high transaction fees, which is not a good thing. You do not want to be paying high fees. So that's why you should be getting excited for Ethereum 2.0, and it's coming out very soon. So with the introduction of the white elephant in the room, that could be a good thing for DeFi. So most likely we're going to see the popularity of DeFi projects grow, but it's also going to depend on a few things. If there's too much scammers, there needs to be self-regulation in the crypto community. Because if there's too much scammers, then the governments and everybody else will want to regulate it. If that happens, remember 2018, a big part of why a lot of projects and why Bitcoin started to fall is regulation from countries around the world. DeFi is currently decentralized, but that doesn't mean it's going to be DeFi forever. It's still fairly new technology. Also have to watch out for being a newbie investor and just dumping your money into a project that you hope will have 10,000% gains, but suddenly it goes down. So I wouldn't be investing in DeFi. I would be investing my time researching into DeFi and researching outside of DeFi what's happening in cryptocurrency. But the end result is if Bitcoin interest starts to go up and Ethereum interest starts to go up, DeFi interest will also go up. And once the interest goes up, the most successful projects will become even more successful, and you're going to make even more money. As always, stay safe in the markets. My name is Michael Kubera. Thanks so much for watching. Bye. We're just coming back from an eye exam, and it looks absolutely amazing. I always love when my pupils are like that. Woo! So yeah, I'm absolutely blind right now. It's like all blurry.